Namaskar. I am Kudpi Rajnikant Shenoy, Kudpi Raj. Life is strange. We are born, we pass our time. Each individual has a different way of passing time from early life till death. How we make the best out of it depends on our capabilities and our attitudes. It all depends on the environment in which we grew, the friends we made, the games we played, the fun and laughter we had. That's what makes our early life useful. That's what makes our early life memorable. Those are the carefree days, unleashed growing up stage, days of caring and sharing without expectations, days of no class differentiation. Yes, we had it in our own ways, but one thing common for all of us is the reminiscence, the nostalgia within. And there are best buddies as per our own experience. I am lucky that I had quite a few of them in my life. The very first friend and the best one was Mahaveer. Then in early 1971, I met Vishwanath N Shenoy, son of Narasimha Damodar Shenoy and Kamala Shenoy, whom we dearly called Vishwa. Vishwa came like a breeze and vanished like a tornado. Yet he didn't take away the precious moments we spent together over a period of 5 decades. The Shenoys shifted home from Kapikad Bijay to Ballalbagh. We were living nearby in the same locality. My schoolmate Anantakrishna Prabhu and Eknath Pai, who were neighbors of Vishwa earlier in Kapikad Bijay, were all praises for Vishwa. It was Anantakrishna who first introduced me to Vishwa soon after they shifted home. From then on, we were best buddies. Vishwa was a happy-go-lucky chap who had varied interests and talents. He was a good cricket player. He loved Western music. He watched a lot of English movies. He was a fan of Bruce Lee. He loved nature, traveled a lot, loved good food, was good at studies, and had a good command over English. He was a good orator. He narrated stories and jokes very well. He was also a techno wizard and he knew everything about music players, hi-fi systems, recording music, and the artists of our heydays. We have been members of a friend circle called Blue Moon Sports Club. It was founded by Mahaveer in the early 1970s. We used to play mainly cricket and ball badminton. We also indulged in social activities under the banner of Blue Moon Sports Club. I also remember about the food stall set up by the members of Blue Moon Sports Club selling quick snacks and cold drinks at the Ballalbagh Circle during the Gurji Deepotsava way back in 1971. Then Vishwa had actively participated in that. Vishwa introduced me to quite a few rock, pop, funk, soul, disco, R&B artists and bands such as OCBisa, Grand Funk Railroad, Paul McCartney and the Wings, Ginger Baker, Sandy Nelson, Ananda Shankar, James Brown, Jimi Hendrix, Iron Butterfly, The Temptations, Rare Earth, Elton John, and Manu Dibango. We were fans of Santana and the Beatles already, and he had a very good collection of Santana and Beatles songs. Vishwa also had a wide range of record collection, which we used to go and enjoy listening to at his home whenever we had free time. I used to go to his home almost daily because I am a music buff and I and Vishwa had similar taste in music. Vishwa also formed a syndicate of us three friends, namely himself, myself, and Mahaveer, as equal partners, contributing money and buying LP records. Thus, we collected almost 2 dozen LP records over a period of 2 years from 1974 to 1976. We used to circulate those records among ourselves and enjoy listening to them. Those days, I didn't have a hi-fi system at home. So, I used to go to either Mahaveer's home or Vishwanath's home to listen to music. I also played my records in their homes. Then I also learned how to record music from LP record to compact cassettes from Vishwa. I also used to borrow cassettes from Vishwa. He had gifted me quite a few of them over a period of 5 decades. Last ones were 2 decades ago when he was appreciating native Afro-American music and Southern rock. The 2 cassettes were one by Blues Traveler and the other by Baba Mal. In 1976 April, Vishwa proposed that some of us friends can go together to Bombay, stay for 2 weeks in his uncle's home and enjoy going around, shopping and have fun. So I agreed. Along with I and Vishwa, 2 others joined. One was Vishwa's relative, Ravindra Naik, whom we call Ravi, from Naik's Opticals family. The other was Vishwa's classmate and my distant relative, Panduranga Kamath, whom we call Pandu. Pandu is from M. Ganapaya and Sons Ayurvedic physician's family. The 4 of us took the long route by Janata Express, passing through 5 states of India, covering the distance in 40 hours, and then we reached Bombay. We had a lot of fun during the 40 hours of the journey. We also met Arthur D'Souza, champion weightlifter from Mangalore. He was on his way to Russia via Bombay, and he was with us in the same compartment and travelled with us up to Bombay. Our 2 weeks in Bombay was highlighted mainly by comfortable stay at Vishwa's uncle Sanjeev Shenoy's home, Shantinivas Society in Vadala. His uncle Sanjeev Shenoy had passed away much before that, but his aunt Yashoda Shenoy treated us like her own children and looked after us very well. We were playing table tennis in their society recreation room almost every day, playing cricket, visiting his and my relatives, watching 13 movies in 15 days, including the all-time super hit Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon at Regal Cinema. We ate Bel Puri, Pav Bhaji, sipped Kalakatta at the 5 Gardens near Matunga, went for shopping and sightseeing around fort and other areas. Vishwa's cousin Anant, who is Dr. Anant Shenoy practicing in Bombay now, gave us good company during those 2 weeks. Apart from Anant's younger brothers, Ajit and Anil, then Vishwa's cousin Rajani and their domestic helper, a bubbly, smiling, friendly woman by name Kusuma. They all gave us good company. We played a lot of board games and cards and had a lot of fun. That woman, Kusuma was a fantastic cook, and she had prepared excellent Mangalorean chicken curry, which we gorged on with merchandise bread. I still can't forget the flavor of that curry. It was so lip-smacking good. Vishwa's aunt Yashoda Shenoy, as I told earlier, was a good host and a very compassionate woman. So was his paternal aunt, whom he called Kasturiaka, who was staying nearby to his uncle Sanjeev Shenoy's home on Rafi Ahmad Kidwai Road, Vadala. Kasturiaka and Kasturiaka's husband, Dr. H.V. Shenoy, they were also very amicable, and they treated us well. We visited them many times during the stay. The only relative of Vishwa with whom I could not associate much was his cousin Nagesh. Nagesh was by nature a reserved person, and he was a very serious looking man. He had a transport, he was running his father's transport business called West Coast Road Lines, and soon after he entered home, he would go to his music room, listen to some music of his choice, then he would watch a little bit of TV and read paper, and he never used to mingle with his cousins or strangers. But during his office time, Vishwa used to slyly play some of his music collection, Nagesh music collection, on his hi-fi system, and we used to enjoy that. And after listening to all the songs, Vishwa would carefully keep them in place intact without leaving any traces that he used his system or his records, because he knew that Nagesh was a very angry young man who would scold anyone if he came to know that someone used his private collection without his permission. But later on, in the later years, early this millennium, when I started my profession, Nagesh became close to me. He got connected through phone as well as email, and he got quite a few songs recorded by me, songs of his choice, to be played in his newly opened restaurant, and also for his personal collection. He is still a good friend, and whenever we meet, he is very friendly. After 2 weeks of holiday in Bombay, we returned by a private bus, and Vishwa's aunt Yashoda, her domestic helper Kusuma, and her daughter Rajini also travelled with us in the bus, because they were coming to Mangalore to attend some function or some wedding or something. Vishwa's aunt took care of all our meals on the way. She paid the bill everywhere. So that was a breather for me, because I was almost broke by the time I did shopping, went to movies, ate out and all those things. My resources were empty almost, and I was reduced to 13 rupees by the time I boarded the bus back to Mangalore. Since she took care of the expenses on the way, I could afford to buy some Lonavala chikki at Panvel and also pay the auto fare from Badalbag to Mannagudda after reaching Mangalore. Such a kind lady she was. During our Bombay visit, I can recall a couple of strange incidences. One was when we were going to Central Railways, Kurla Loco Shed. Nayak Ravi, who was with us, wanted to meet his relative, an engineer working in Loco Shed, Kurla. So we took a train from Vadala to Kurla, and we were going to the yard, Kurla Loco Shed, by the side of the track. When we reached almost near the Loco Shed, I didn't look either sides, and I just simply went to cross the track. Suddenly from nowhere a fast train approached and I would have been crushed under the train had it not for the guy who was just passing by, and he noticed me, he jumped and he grabbed me by the arm and pulled me aside. Thus I was saved. All my friends who are watching were shocked, and at the same time they were delighted to see me in one piece. That was one incident, one memorable incident I still dread about. When I think about it, I get shivers. Then the second one was after we watched Enter the Dragon movie at the Regal Cinema. Vishwa and Pandu, they returned by bus to Vadala, and we stayed back. We three went for some shopping, and maybe Taru wanted a haircut or maybe Ravi wanted a haircut. We went to Kolaba side, and we returned by taxi to the VT station to board the suburban train back to Vadala. And by mistake, instead of going to the ticket counter, we entered the wrong door and went to the platform. When we realized our mistake, it was a bit late, because when we tried to come out and approach to the ticket counter, the TTE caught us. He took us to a corner and told us that we have to pay a fine. When we asked how much, he said per head it was 11 rupees. It was a huge sum for us those days. We pleaded to him, we told him that we are from Mangalore, we want to go back to Mangalore the next day, we have to pay the bus ticket and spend for the food and other things. So we don't have much money left. So we asked him to allow us go free. He didn't agree. After about half an hour of repeatedly pleading and this thing, in between he was very angry, and he said, if you don't have money and if you have a story to tell, you stay in lockup. He showed us the lockup room also. It was with bars and open room with bars. You stay overnight here. Tomorrow morning I will produce you in court. There you can tell the story. So we are very scared about it. Then we said, do something, show some mercy and all those things. After maybe about 20 or 30 minutes, he agreed to give one receipt in one person's name and charged only 11 rupees. So that saved us 22 rupees, and with that memory we returned to Vadala and to Mangalore. When I got the bank job and relocated to Mysore in 1979, I needed some device for entertainment, such as a radio or tape recorder, which I didn't have that time. I stayed in my relative's house for a couple of months. They had a radio, but I could not take the liberty and listen to music of my choice. So I requested Vishwa. During my visit to Mangalore, soon after joining the bank, I came back to Mangalore to pack and take my some of my things. Then I requested Vishwa, and he lent me a radio cassette recorder, which I used for 2 or 3 months and returned him. It was very useful to me then. And he also gave some of his cassettes. I took my own cassettes, and I had a lot of fun. My way was, collecting records and cassettes, but I didn't have a hi-fi sound system. I didn't have a cassette player with me. Then after returning Vishwa's radio cassette recorder, he suggested that he had a standalone cassette player which he wanted to dispose of. He told me, don't pay me anything, just take it. I'll give it to you as a friend. I was not ready to accept it. So I told him, you have to take some price for it, because I don't want to take it free. Then he charged me 1/4 the original price of that cassette recorder. It was a cassette player, not a recorder. And my stay in Mysore was enjoyable because of that cassette player. Then after I shifted to Bangalore on transfer, that cassette player had some problem. I got it repaired. Then I sold it to my own colleague in bank, who paid me the same amount. I got 125 rupees for that. Later in 1982, when I was handling cash as the payment cashier in our bank, I had a problem. We had lot of customers, lot of Marwadi boys who used to come to the branch. They spoke aloud, and they also made lot of noise, and they disturbed me while handling cash. So I could not tolerate that distraction. I could not ask them to go away or keep quiet. So during my first visit after that to Mangalore, I requested Vishwa to lend his portable cassette recorder. That was Sony Walkman. Sony Walkman was a very expensive affair those days, maybe costing 1,500 or 2,000 rupees. But Vishwa had it. He gladly gave his Sony Walkman to me. Without thinking twice, he gave it to me, and I used it for almost 6 months of my term as cashier, and it was very helpful. I could concentrate on my work, and there was no distraction, no disturbance, absolutely nothing, because that was the way I used to study for exams, listening to music on the radio, and by the side I used to read the textbook and score better marks. So Vishwa was always there when I needed help. He was the one who took care of all my material wants, what I could not afford. He used to provide. Yet he never tried to boss over me, nor did he try to show off that he is sponsoring friends. All he wanted was our friendship, and he would always go that extra mile to do things for us. Vishwa went for medical education, graduated in 1981 from Kasturba Medical College, Mangalore. Then he completed his house surgery and started practice maybe in 1982 or so. He opened a private clinic, a dispensary by name Shenoy Clinic, very near to his home in Ganesh BD complex. He was mainly treating poor patients, some working class people, labor class and all that, and a lot of known relatives and friends without charging them much or charging nothing. So that practice didn't fetch him much returns, and it was not feasible, I can say. He faced a lot of problems, but he was smiling all the time and enduring whatever problems he had. Then he also got married, I think maybe by the same time, soon after completing his MBBS, he got married. So Veena also joined him in practice, I believe. I think she was also sitting in the clinic along with him. But they could not earn much during the period. When Vishwa had his Shenoy clinic in Ganesh BD complex near his home, I was benefited. In one way, it was about getting medical fitness certificate. Whenever I needed sick leave, I went to Vishwa, and he has always gladly obliged me. I don't know how many such medical fitness certificates he has given me, because I used to travel from Mysore and Bangalore quite often. Every 2 or 3 months I used to come home, and to take sudden leave, the bank would not allow me. So I would say I was ill, and I took treatment in my hometown and produced the fitness certificate. Then he also treated me for minor ailments, minor illnesses, without charging anything. He even gave me medicine from his dispensary at his own cost. Maybe he has given some sample medicine, and some he has from his dispensary stock he has given, and never charged me a paisa. He never used to charge any friends anything. Then he went for post graduation. He became a general physician and continued consultancy. As a consultant, he continued in the same clinic, but not many patients would pay him the consultation charges. They would pay like they used to pay in his dispensary and all that. And that was really a sad thing that happened in his life. He was such a brilliant doctor and such a friendly guy. He deserved much better deal here, but he could not get it. And in between, he was visiting Mulki and working in Mulki nursing home owned by the Kudwas, Dr. Achyut Kudwa and family. They were his relatives, and he was earning a little bit there because of working there. But that was not much to say for a physician of his caliber. He was not earning much. So he decided to relocate to the United States of America, and in 1988, 6 years after he started private practice, he went and joined a hospital, a job in a small town, and he faced a lot of hardship there. Soon Veena also joined him. They both struggled a lot. They had a very tough time initial days. I have listened to all those stories he has told me. Washing machine, the dishwasher, everything on rental. They could not afford their own. And even to buy a car, it was very difficult for him. But without car, you cannot survive in the US. Buses are not that prominently connected in the US. Trains are also very less there. So everybody, almost everybody owns a car. So he, with the difficulty, bought a second-hand car and managed. And I can imagine his plight, the initial days he suffered. For a few years, they both suffered actually. And of course, hard work and their ability as good doctors saw that they come up in life and prosper. And after many years of their marriage, maybe I don't remember, maybe 6 or 8 years after their marriage, Divya was born, their first daughter. And Divya was the apple of his eyes, and he always used to talk about her antics, her growing up, everything, because he was yearning so much for a baby girl, or baby rather in general. And after Divya, Tanya was born. Both are very cheerful, bubbly, friendly girls who grew up, and Divya also became a doctor, and she is working as a doctor. She married her own friend from her own school, medical school, and both are doctors working in the US. Tanya, I think she also completed her medical school, and maybe she is also working. I am not much aware of that thing. But later on, Tanya was his own close friend. They were, partners in rhyme and crime, you can say. So a lot of fun things they used to do, father and daughter duo. They were both alike in their thinking and their working, playing, everything. So it was fun to watch a lot of their videos which Vishwa has shared with me. Vishwa, in fact, has shared a lot of his pictures and videos with me on Facebook, via email, and also on WhatsApp. Now I am not active on Facebook and WhatsApp. So some of the things he has continued sharing with me on email and also through Facebook Messenger. We used to keep in contact with each other. Last year in December, he visited Mangalore, and I could not meet him due to some personal reasons. But before that, a year or so, maybe in 2019 or 2020, he had come once, and he also recorded a video with me, him and Mahaveer in it. talking about our good old days and our visit to Bombay and all those things. It is still fun watching it. I still have that video with me now.
खुशी झाले रजनी तुक मेळ्ळाले महावीर बारी खुश झाला मेळ्ळो so reminds me of our old days when we used to sit together and talk about OCBisa temptation record collection Blue Moon Sports Club Bruce Lee ಮತ್ತೇನು
ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ನೀನು ಬಂದ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ HBO ದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಟರ್ ದಿ ಡ್ರ್ಯಾಗನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು. ನೀನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಬಾಂಬೆಯಿಂದ.
ಹೌದು
72.
ನೀನು ಬಾಂಬೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ.
So it was a fantastic time.
ಎಂಟರ್ ದ ವ್ಯಾಗನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ. ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ ಮರ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿ ಬಿದ್ದು.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ.
ಸೊ
ಕಡೆಗೆ ನಾನು ಆಗ ಅರ್ಧ ಹೇಳಿ ರಿಚರ್ಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಂಗರ್ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅವ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ನಾನು ಈವ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್
ಗಿಟಾರ್
ಇವ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ರಿಚರ್ಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಶಾಪಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಹೋದ ಎಂತದ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಚ್ ನಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾನು ಅವರು ಹಿಂದೋಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ನಾ ಕಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಯುವರ್ ಶೋ ಹಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡಿದೆ. ಒಂದು ಆಟೋಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಲಿಪ್ ಇತ್ತು. ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಮಹಾವೀರ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಮೊಹಮ್ಮದ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೊಹಮ್ಮದ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಮೈ ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಿತ್ ಲವ್ MAHA ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದು ದಸ್ಕದಾಗಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ.
Actually Rajani, one of the topmost musician in the world in my experience, sitar musician, sitar player is in Mangalore. Rafiq Khan.
Why?
He's amazing player. But I'm not exaggerating.
ನಾಯಕ್
Rafiq Khan.
ಹೌದಾ?
Yeah.
Then Vishwa developed a penchant for Hindustani classical music, especially playing sitar. So he learned how to play the sitar, and to develop his skills, he often came to Mangalore, and under the able guidance of Akashvani artist Ustad Rafiq Khan, he learnt a lot of sitar lessons. He had a lot of sitar lessons from him, and also purchased good sitars from here and took them to the US. He has given many shows there in the US. Not only sitar, he learned how to play African native Udu drums. Then he plays harmonica, he plays keyboard. He was a multi-instrumentalist, and he used to play well. Indian national anthem, Janagana Mana, played by him on sitar, harmonica and keyboard. All the versions with me. Then I was making a documentary video for Karnataka Konkani Sahitya Academy way back in 2016. Then Vishwa had shared his own composition called Snake Charmers of Malpe, a sitar rendition by him, with me. When I requested that whether I can use that music in the documentary video, he, without asking for royalty, he gave me permission, and he also sent me the better quality version on a CD and told me go ahead. After that, one more track of his Sitar Latin jazz or something I have used in Konkani Academy documentary video. So he has given me permission to use 2 of his Sitar tracks for my video documentary. See how great Vishwa was. And about his programs, he has given a lot of programs on FM radio and appeared in interviews. Lot of such stuff he has done in his town, and during the Konkani, Vishwa Konkani Sammelan, then many other, wherever there were events, he used to take his sitar and play there, give a concert and all.
Years ago, the classical form is nearly 1,000 years old.
The music is so beautiful that it's, once you get into it, it's like an ocean. There is no end. You can keep on understanding, loving, or playing the music.
He will be one of the featured artists at the Mississippi Arts Commission Folk Life exhibit in May.
Then he has associated with some of the native instrumentalists there and played a lot of folk music and all with them. He also suggested me that I, being a multimedia professional, can join him and we can go travel all over India to small towns or villages, tribal areas, where native music is more popular. We can cover the local artists and he can also learn something from them and interview them, write articles and make video documentaries about them, and I can assist him with my technical skills. So I said, okay, let's go, let's start it. He was ambitious to do that, but somehow that didn't click, that didn't materialize. Then he started having health issues. He shared a FM radio recording with me.
This is MPB Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Welcome to Grassroots. Bill Ellison here, as always, your host on these Saturday nights. 2 hours of bluegrass, acoustic, and folk music. We are absolutely delighted you've chosen to spend some time with us tonight. We'll make it worth your while. We do appreciate you listening to us. But in Mississippi, Dr. Vish Shenoy has been performing with the sitar for several years, playing at Millsaps College in Jackson and at Riverfest in Vicksburg, among other places. By day, Dr. Shenoy is a gastroenterologist in Jackson. I recently had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Shenoy, getting to know him and learning what a nice guy he is and what a talented musician he is. I also learned that Vish was recently diagnosed with cancer and might have only a few months to live. He told me of his love for his instrument in Indian classical music, and that he's a longtime fan of MPB, and that he wanted to share the music with our audience. And I'd like to just read you a little bit of his email that he sent to me. He said, I started learning the instrument when I was 45 years old. He says, 14 years ago, I heard my teacher, Mr. Hiran Goswami, play the sitar at a party, and I was mesmerized. I started learning from him after that. The classical ancient melodies called ragas, played on sitar, are very relaxing and evoke profound emotion in listeners. And he says, I'll play my own composition, The Snake Charmer of Malpe. The melody depicts the joy, hardship, and struggles of a poor street performer in a village called Malpe in India. And Vish goes on to say, I diagnosed a brain tumor on myself in April of 2018 and had surgery after that. Since my diagnosis, I have sensed an urgency to showcase my music to the beautiful residents of Mississippi who have given me and my family so much. Vish recently visited us here in the Bluegrass Cabin, and along with percussionist Avinash Anath, shared some of his music. We'd like to stretch our acoustic horizons a bit tonight with this recording of The Snake Charmer of Malpe, performed by Dr. Vish Shenoy and Avinash Anath. Like I say, maybe the first time ever, probably, I'm relatively certain the first time ever that we've featured music of the Indian sitar on Grassroots. Dr. Vish Shenoy with a piece that he composed, The Snake Charmer of Malpe, accompanied by Avinash Anath on Indian percussion. Vish, thank you for sharing that music with us. We appreciate it greatly, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And thoughts and prayers for you on your journey ahead. Dr. Vish Shenoy.
So this brain tumor, which was actually malignant, subsided, and Vishwa went on world tour. So he decided whether or not he will survive for long, because that was a threat to his life actually. Such ailment generally recurs or makes people disabled to a certain extent. Since it had affected the brain, he had his own apprehensions. He was quite normal, his speech was normal, his reasoning, everything. He became totally 100% normal, and he was enjoying life. His attitude, his happy-go-lucky nature took him to a lot of countries. He visited many countries, he shared the pictures, videos, and his Facebook used to be flooded with pictures and videos wherever he goes, just like a documentary filmmaker, or you can say travel vloggers, what they do. Same way he used to do. Wherever he went, he showed us around, he talked about the place, they talked about the history, everything, and he kept himself amused, he kept himself busy, and also he entertained others with his work. So he was not practicing, and he remained at home most of it. He was almost a retired person. After a year or so, when he thought that he is fit enough to start working again, the problem occurred again. He had the same ailment which came back, which relapsed, and this time it was worse. So things didn't go his way. Things went against him. That's really a matter of worry for everyone. Vishwa sent me a message via Facebook telling that he got it back, and for the worse. That was a matter of concern for all of us. And what can we do about it? It happened in September this year, maybe early September, and he sent me the message saying, this is the problem. I am taking help of my daughter who is attending to all my emails and messages and all. I cannot read or write anymore. So I was wondering what happened to Vishwa for quite some time, because he was not responding to my messages. So that was the reason. Maybe a few days before that he got the symptoms back, and he could not do a thing by himself. So Tanya helped him a lot, and she was responding to the mails, messages and all these things on his behalf. Then in September itself, we lost our friend Mahaveer. I sent a message to Vishwa's Facebook Messenger. First I informed him about Mahaveer having a massive heart attack and needing a bypass surgery and being admitted to Yanapaya Hospital. My next message to him was that Mahaveer is no more. He succumbed to his ailment and multi-organ failure, to which I received a reply from Veena saying, well, Vishwa is not in a state to read, write or do anything. He can only talk over phone. I told Veena in my message that I know everything about his condition. I am very sorry. I didn't mean to disturb him. But when will I be able to talk to him? What time would be convenient for him to talk to me via Facebook Messenger? I didn't get any reply for that. Maybe they were busy attending to him, maybe his condition was worsening, or maybe they didn't want to disturb him. I didn't try further to call him, but I was asking his brother Premnath and Taranath about his well-being. But there was another problem. His mother, Kamala Shenoy, who was aged 91, who had a paralytic stroke some years ago but survived it and became almost okay, was bedridden. So her last days were nearing. She didn't know that her son is having this problem. Initially, when he sent me the FM radio recording, he had taken promise from me, not just from me, he took promise from everyone that nobody will inform his mother about his ailment. Mother would be shattered to listen to that. Let her live peacefully. And he hoped that every year he will come and see her, meet her and spend time with her. Unfortunately, she was bedridden and she passed away earlier this month, and within 9 days we got the sad news informing that ND Shenoy's son, Dr. Vishwanath, is no more. Well, it was not shocking, it was bound to happen, knowing what Vishwa was going through, how he was fighting his ailment. He was brave, he had a good attitude, and we all wished him well, because he was the one who used to advise everyone. I think during the last visit to Mangalore in December 2021, many friends came to meet him, and whoever had any medical problems, he gave them the right suggestions, the right prescriptions, and they are still thankful to him. They are very thankful to him that he gave them the best advice. And whenever he hears that somebody is ill or somebody has some problem, he will immediately ask the case history, take the case history and suggest them what to do, how to go about it. And he himself could not fight his ailment. Sad. Well, life is strange. We don't know how life turns, what life has in store for whom, and when what happens. We are all born, we lead a life, we pass time. How we pass time is left to us, but how better we do it depends on how capable we are and what our attitude is. That's the main thing in life, and I think Vishwa did full justice to whatever life he has led, because he was useful to everyone. He was useful for this earth, he was useful to his family, he was useful to his friend, to his patients, everyone. He was a fantastic human being, a great doctor, a perfectionist, a perfect gentleman. I cannot describe in more superlatives how great he was. He and Mahaveer were equally dear to me, and I can say both were equally my best friends. Though I met Mahaveer much earlier, the level of friendship and the level of brotherliness we shared, I, Mahaveer and Vishwa, was the same. Vishwa was open-minded, he never gossiped about anyone, he never talked negative about anyone, he always smiling, always friendly, and I can say he was the common denominator for all our friends in Ballalbagh, not only from Blue Moon Sports Club, but other friends also. Just like Mahaveer, everybody loved Vishwa, and Vishwa loved everyone. So Vishwa was true to himself and to all those whom he was associated with. The values the Shenoys have inculcated in their children was well depicted in Vishwa's thoughts and actions. He did whatever he felt right for himself and others. I have never seen him fighting with anyone, arguing with anyone, having dispute with anyone. He never chided anyone. He never got angry or emotionally down any time. Though he had some health issues from early days, he never got dejected in life or depressed in life. With his positive attitude, he moved ahead and reached where he was until he left us all. Well, life is strange, like I told. Only the good die young. There is a song. Vishwa certainly deserved a long life, which he did not get. Only memories shall remain for a lifetime on my mind. Two friends, two best friends are not there today. I feel totally devastated. I couldn't do anything to save them. All lip sympathies and formalities. What else I could have done? So at times we become helpless, that in spite of receiving so much favors from good people, we cannot save them, we could not save them. That's the bitter truth of life. And that's something which I cannot fathom. May he rest in peace. Thanks for watching. Thank you.